Both the US and Saudi Arabia have expressed concern that the war between Israel and Hamas could widen into a regional war. The difference between the US and Saudi Arabia is that the kingdom has been calling almost from the outset of this for an immediate ceasefire. Joining me now, Robert Jordan, former US ambassador to Saudi Arabia. And let's be absolutely clear, Ambassador, the kingdom has condemned in the strongest terms the Israeli ground operation in Gaza, its strike on the Jabalia camp, and it's made its position absolutely clear when it comes to a ceasefire or, in watered-down language, perhaps in diplomatic terms, a humanitarian pause at least. Have you in any way been surprised by how increasingly vocal these Saudis have been?
No, it's not a surprise at all, because the Saudis consider themselves, of course, the custodians of the two holiest places in Sunni Islam. They have a broader responsibility because of that, and I think they would find it almost untenable to waffle and encourage a massive Israeli incursion in Gaza under these circumstances. I will tell you privately, I think they are aghast at what Hamas has done. They are no friends of Hamas. And I think if you look at it, Hamas has actually made an attempt to undermine a number of the Gulf Arab regimes by what they have done. So I think privately we'll see the Saudis being more cooperative, but their public statements are something else.
The kingdom certainly sharing the concerns around this region of the risk of escalation. We hear that echoed throughout this region, here in the Gulf and throughout the region. Through Riyadh's lens, of course, the involvement of the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen in claiming responsibility for attempted attacks on Israel's southern border must be a real concern. So what do you believe the Saudis are looking for in Washington today? What is Washington looking for from the Saudis? And where do you think these conversations can sort of come together? Where can agreements be forged at this point, given that they are, sitting at quite different ends of what should happen next here? I mean, as I said, the kingdom is clearly calling for a ceasefire at this point.
And I think we've got to be clear on the terms. When they call for a ceasefire, they're basically suggesting that Hamas should win and the Israelis should stand down completely. But when they're calling for a humanitarian corridor or a pause for humanitarian purposes, that's a different kind of device that might be viable here to allow a safe passage for a number of the civilians to leave at least northern Gaza. So I think we want to be very careful on what we're understanding them to be saying. Secondly, I think they will probably proceed with the United States in quietly asking for some of the same things they were asking under the Saudi-Israeli normalization plan. That was access to American military equipment, nuclear technology. They say something for the Palestinians, and I think that's something that would have to be discussed.